For over half a century, we've been told that Megalodon was simply a bigger, more terrifying version of the great white shark. Museums displayed its massive jaws. Documentaries portrayed it as an oversized predator. Scientists compared its hunting patterns to modern sharks. But what if everything we've been taught was wrong? Hidden in museum archives, overlooked in fossil collections, and dismissed by mainstream paleontology, there's evidence that challenges the very foundation of what we think we know about the largest predator to ever roam Earth's oceans. Megalodon was not a giant shark. The story begins in 1843, when Swiss naturalist Louis Agassiz examined massive triangular teeth found along coastal regions worldwide. Their serrated edges, robust build, and striking similarity to great white shark teeth led him to a seemingly obvious conclusion. Agassiz named this creature Carcharodon megalodon, literally, big tooth, and classified it in the same genus as the great white shark. This single decision would shape scientific understanding for the next 180 years. By the early 20th century, the narrative was set in stone. Megalodon was described as a great white shark on steroids. Paleontologists estimated its length at 50 to 60 feet, roughly 3 times the size of its modern cousin. Its hunting strategy? Identical to the great white. Ambush attacks, targeting marine mammals, using its enormous bite force to incapacitate prey. In 1973, paleontologist John Mazie reconstructed Megalodon's jaws using great white proportions. The result was displayed at the American Museum of Natural History, a gaping maw large enough to swallow a car. Photographs of visitors standing inside those jaws became iconic, cementing the giant shark image in popular culture. Hollywood amplified this narrative. From Jaws to countless shark documentaries, Megalodon was portrayed as the ultimate marine predator. Faster, stronger, deadlier. But science doesn't progress through assumptions. It advances through evidence. And the evidence scientists had been ignoring would eventually expose the cracks in this century-old theory. In 1996, a team of researchers at the Natural History Museum in London made a routine catalog of their shark fossil collection. Among thousands of specimens, they found something peculiar: Megalodon vertebrae that didn't match great white proportions. Unlike great white sharks, whose vertebral columns are relatively uniform, Megalodon's vertebrae showed extreme variation in size and shape. The anterior vertebrae, those closest to the head, were disproportionately massive compared to the posterior sections. But this discovery was overshadowed by more exciting finds and remained buried in academic journals. Then, in 2012, everything changed. A partial Megalodon skeleton discovered off the coast of Panama included not just teeth and vertebrae, but something extraordinarily rare: preserved cartilage impressions. And what those impressions revealed contradicted 170 years of established science. The cartilage structure showed a body plan completely unlike any modern lamniform shark, the family that includes great whites, makos, and porbeagles. Instead, the anatomy was far closer to another group entirely: the broad-bodied, filter-feeding sharks like whale sharks and basking sharks. In 2016, a comprehensive study led by paleontologist Kenshu Shimada analyzed over 200 Megalodon fossils from 14 countries. Using advanced CT scanning and 3D modeling, they reconstructed its true body shape. The results were shocking. Megalodon wasn't a streamlined, torpedo-shaped ambush predator. It was broad, deep-bodied, and built like a living submarine. Its mouth wasn't designed for precision strikes. It was designed for maximum intake. So if Megalodon wasn't a giant great white, what was it? The answer lies in its teeth, the very evidence that fooled scientists for over a century. While Megalodon teeth are serrated like great white teeth, closer examination reveals critical differences. The serrations are more widely spaced and less sharp. Under electron microscopy, Researchers found micro-wear patterns consistent not with tearing flesh, but with filtering and crushing. In 2019, marine biologist Dr. Catalina Pimiento published a groundbreaking study analyzing Megalodon's ecological niche. By examining isotopic signatures in fossilized teeth, her team discovered that Megalodon primarily fed on small schooling fish, krill, and plankton, not large marine mammals. But what about those massive jaws? Weren't they designed for devastating bite force? Yes, but not for hunting. Megalodon's bite force, estimated at 40,000 pounds per square inch, served a different purpose, crushing the massive volumes of water and prey it filtered through its mouth. Think of a whale shark, the largest fish alive today. It swims slowly, mouth agape, filtering tons of water to capture tiny organisms. Megalodon operated similarly, but with one crucial advantage. Those enormous teeth acted as a secondary filtration system, trapping and crushing larger prey items that slipped through its gill rakers. This explains several mysteries that puzzled scientists for decades. Why are megalodon teeth found in such abundance worldwide? Because filter feeders lose and replace teeth constantly. Some species go through 30,000 teeth in a lifetime. Why are juvenile megalodon fossils so rare? Because like modern filter feeders, they likely spent their early years in deep, open ocean environments where fossilization is extremely rare. And perhaps most tellingly, why did Megalodon go extinct while great whites survived? Because filter feeders are far more vulnerable to environmental changes. When ocean temperatures dropped and plankton populations shifted during the Pliocene epoch, Megalodon's food source collapsed. Great whites, being adaptable predators, simply switched prey. So how did the scientific community get this so wrong for so long? The answer reveals important lessons about how science works, and sometimes fails. First, the tyranny of first impressions. When Agassiz made his initial classification in 1843, he was working with limited evidence, just teeth. By the time more complete fossils were discovered, the giant shark narrative had become dogma. Challenging it meant challenging the entire paleontological establishment. Second, confirmation bias. For over a century, every new megalodon discovery was interpreted through the lens of the great white comparison. Anomalies were explained away. Contradictory evidence was dismissed as aberrations or pathological specimens. Third, the Jaws effect. After the 1975 blockbuster film, public fascination with giant predatory sharks exploded. Museums needed attractions. Documentary producers needed drama. Scientific funding followed public interest. There was enormous pressure, conscious or not, to maintain the terrifying predator narrative. Dr. Shimada, who led the 2016 Reconstruction study, faced fierce resistance. "We were accused of sensationalism," he recalls. Senior colleagues suggested we were undermining decades of established research. But science isn't about protecting old ideas. It's about following evidence wherever it leads. The implications of this correction extend far beyond Megalodon. It forces us to reconsider the entire Miocene marine ecosystem. If the largest predator in the ocean was actually a filter feeder, then who were the true apex predators? What was the actual food web structure? Current research suggests that Roll may have belonged to Livyatan, a giant sperm whale with teeth larger than megalodons, but designed for actual predation. Orca-like packs of smaller predatory dolphins may have dominated the seas in ways we never imagined. This revelation also changes our understanding of marine gigantism. We assume gigantic size evolved for predation, bigger teeth, stronger bite, more devastating attacks. But Megalodon's true nature suggests another path. Gigantism evolved for efficiency in filter feeding, just as it did in whale sharks and basking sharks today. Perhaps most importantly, this case study reminds us that science is never truly settled. Every conclusion is provisional, awaiting new evidence. The fossils that overturned 180 years of Megalodon research were sitting in museum drawers the entire time. They weren't hidden. They were simply overlooked because they didn't fit the narrative. Megalodon wasn't the terrifying super predator of Hollywood imagination. It was something far more remarkable. A 60-foot filter-feeding giant that dominated Earth's oceans for over 20 million years by perfecting the art of efficiency. The next time you see those massive jaws in a museum, remember, they weren't weapons of devastation. They were tools of survival, engineered through millions of years of evolution to harvest the ocean's smallest creatures at a scale never seen before or since. The truth about Megalodon wasn't hidden by a conspiracy. It was hidden in plain sight, waiting for scientists brave enough to question the narrative. And that might be the most important lesson of all.